Okay. Oh wait. Oh. That timer was. Oh wait. Let me just do. There we go. That was an accident. Okay. Okay, bitrate looks good. There we go. Oh, not there. Okay. Oh, this one. Hey, what's up? I'm HypeHype. I play games, make games, and everything between. And today we are gonna be messing with HypeHype. I'm gonna go through some of the stuff I've been working on this over the weekend, and I had a request on how to make some what was it? Like win-lose the setup in HypeHype so that you can win, and also setting up a timer and a leaderboard. So I thought I'd go through some of those basics because a lot of times in HypeHype I'll just go in and I'll copy a piece, a mechanic or something, and then I'll paste it into my game. So I don't always know exactly what I'm doing, and I'm just kind of like figuring it out as I go. Oh, hey, yo, what's up, Wayward Traveler? Yeah, we're gonna go through some stuff for you today because you asked on how to make I think it was like a game win, game fail. There's multiple ways to do this, and I'm gonna go through them, at least the two that I know, and then we can go through some of the timer stuff. And what was it? There was also and like leaderboard. the basic change everything. Basic change everything. So that's super vague to me. That could mean so many things, and I'm gonna hope so. Questions that you're curious on, and hopefully we go through the basics, because I think I got a good fundamental understanding of the basics. Oh, and if there's time, to go through wave generator and transform. I had the biggest trouble with this, and then the issue is for me is when you attach the wave generator to the transform, you gotta select the amount, because the multiple options come up when you're using the no-code nodes. So we'll see if we got time for that. Let me get my face. All the time I use hit or miss, and it's a pre-made endgame success device, so it should work, I think. I'm not sure of the hit or miss, so that's something hopefully I could become more familiar with today. So let me just seat up, and I don't know how high I can go. Yeah, see, the green screen doesn't go up that high, so maybe, well, let's do this. So what is it? When it comes to success or fail, I think Shogun, I feel like that looks right, has a good example, and I'm gonna try to duplicate this because this was one of the first ones that I saw when I was getting into HypeHype and learning it, and it's not here. It's probably because it's alright. Well, let me go into my profile. So in case you're new, HypeHype is a cool new app that's early access, so check it out now before everyone jumps in on it. And you can make and play games on your phone, tablet, which is where I do most of my stuff, and even desktop browser, but it's kind of mainly for the phone and tablet. But make games however you want to make games. That's the move. Wayward Traveler. I must have something that's contradicting the script blocks somewhere. Oh, you're talking about in your game, why it's not working. Yeah, so I'll be honest with you, going into a game and troubleshooting it, that to me is scary, I think is the right word, because there's so much stuff. Yeah, and you know, I guess that's common though, right? Like any game, any hype, anything that you're remixing, there's a lot of stuff. My biggest recommendation call me Making Games Live or Making Games Live. What about MGL? Because that's shorter. I'm just thinking of quick nickname type of things. Yeah, MGL, Making Games Live. So call you Making Games Live, not Wayward Traveler. Okay, I might abbreviate it to MGL just because it's quicker on the tongue. But you know, my name is technically Al, which is just super short. You can call me Hypesy, you can call me Al, just like Paul Simon said. So let's get to what I was talking about. There is a super simple hype. I think is it under? I have one under drafts. So here is a super simple hype. This one is, I think, originally from Shogun, but it's great because you just go like this. Oh well, and then that, and you can see. Well, I guess this one doesn't actually finish. So we're gonna make something like this, but with the finishing. Making Games or Wayward. My search is hashtag Making Games Live worldwide. Oh, you got your own hashtag. That's super cool. Yeah, no, it's like literally kind of like what we're gonna be doing, making games live. Not to say making games live as we're making games live, but I yeah, sorry, I get sidetracked. But let's just go and create a hype. Okay, I'm gonna go with this basic, and I'm gonna turn the environment a little bit kind of blue, just because this gets a little, it's just a little, oh man, oh, there we go. Well, actually, maybe gray is good. So let's save this, and we'll call this one win, lose, example. More than 100 videos on YouTube's Twitter, Twitch, Facebook Live, and YouNow. Oh, I don't know about YouNow. Is that one cool? Is that's okay, so this one's just gonna be for testing. I might publish it later just so anyone can take a look at this. But first thing we're gonna need is a way to pick up the objects in the game. And I'm gonna go to my very first hype. Let me hold on, this go like that. I'm gonna go to my very first hype that I made in HypeHype. I have a video on it. We saved it. And in this hype, which is just a simple matching game, you match adorable animals. Whoop, that's something I was working on this weekend. Nope, come on. There we go. Oh, is it not out there? Okay. So what we're gonna be doing is taking a mechanic from this, which is where you can just pick up objects. And here we can see this. I have a whole YouTube video on how I made this game. And to me, this is really cool because I had basically no idea what I was doing when I made this game, and yet here we can see a fully functioning game. And I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna take something from this game, which is just the mechanic where you can pick up an object and move it. So that's why it's really important when you're playing hypes on HypeHype, playing games, and you see something you like a pickup object mechanic, you can save the game on your heart list or your favorites list. So here right now all the animals are completely covered in this invisible box so that they don't fly off the screen. Now I am not going to be saving anything from here, but here we can see that this is a reusable. Oh, maybe you can't see it from over. It's kind of hard to see because it says drag. It's just like right up there. It says drag and hover. But deleting. Oh no, where did it go? Yeah, there it is. So this is what we're going to take. Deleting the object with the reusable, which is the package, kind of pops it out. So I'm going to take it and then hit the left over here, which says copy. Select it. Copy. You can see my green thumb on it. Copy, and then we're going to exit, and we're going to go back to the original hype. One sec, Wayward. I see you message something, but I just don't want to get lost. Okay, so it's in there. You can't see it. Oh, there it is. Some HypeHype is still new, so there's still a lot. Let's get left. No, we want right. So HypeHype is still a new app and they're working out a lot of things. So we can't see the package right now, but if we hit that logic on, we can see it and it's almost in the ground. So we want to move it up. You know what? I just noticed my text box is like right in front of my video. Wayward, it's your show. Oh wait, currently 427 games playable worldwide. Hee, super proud. So many family can play family games free. 427 games. Oh, you've made 427 games. That's a lot, man. I think I'm on like 15. I don't know. I did just make like 7 the other day. The cool thing with HypeHype, in my humble opinion, is when you get the foundation for the game that you want to make, making another level super easy. And obviously there's a different spectrum of like how similar certain levels are to others. But yeah, getting the core foundation. So that's why we're going to go over the core foundation of how to have a game win, a game fail, and the 2 ways that I know how to do it, one using a broadcast listener and the other without, but mainly using the collision detector. Now let's go ahead and duplicate this object. And we're going to go ahead and change this one to, I'm not gonna lie, I guess that blue's better. And let's go ahead and duplicate this and make it red. And duplicate one more, make it purple. So now we got 4 colors. And another good thing to do is be sure to check out your camera set view. So we got the camera set and we got the set camera and we got the reset view. It's funny because I actually mix these up all the time, which is not what you want to do. You simply put, the reset view resets the view, making whatever view that you have now the new view. So usually you don't want reset view unless you want a new view. I felt like I said the word view like 8 times in that sentence, so if you didn't understand that, I'm sorry, but resetting view resets the view. So I'll just show you. Set camera. Oh no, I set the camera. Wait, I think I got them mixed up again. Okay, so let's just move it around. And then we go to reset view. Okay, so ignore everything I just said about the reset view. That was a test. I was testing because, so reset view will reset your view to be a new view. I wish it said like new reset view. Whoop. I zoomed in. And then we got set camera. Oh wait, no. Set camera sets the camera and reset view resets it. Okay, so I thought I understood these. Clearly, I still got a ways to go. So we want to set the camera here. So we're gonna hit set camera. So this is now the new camera. And I'm gonna pull up the advanced transform menu, which is this down here, so that we can see the X, Y, and Z coordinates. We're gonna zoom out, hit this, and we can see that this camera is on the 1, the X of 1, Y of 2.8, and a Z of 13. So I like everything to be all symmetrical, lined up. So we're gonna move this to an X of 0. And then we will move all of the objects in the hype accordingly. everybody has their own way. Once you figure out what you like, do that. If you're this, you like to have everything centered around a specific character, and you can do that. It's very flexible. I just like consistency. This is what I do. So we're gonna let's mess with the camera view again, because I mixed this up. So set camera sets the camera. We don't want to set the camera. Hypothetically, you know, we're doing a bunch of editing and we show, and we want to see what the camera looks like for the player. We hit reset view. Boom. Yes. Okay. So set camera, and I guess it makes sense that set camera is on top, but set camera will, I don't want to say the word reset the camera because that will confuse me. It will just set the camera. Yeah. So the set and there's reset. Set sets it up in whatever way you want it, and then reset, because you'll be in HypeHype, you'll be making a game, you'll be like knee deep and moving all things around, and if you haven't seen what the player sees in a while, hit reset view and then you can see. Okay, so now we got these objects, and we have, these are all dynamics. Looking, you know, it's good to check out the physics. And so we got this drag and hover. I'm gonna go into this a little bit. Now, you don't need to know what everything does in HypeHype, which is kind of one of the cool things. It is a little bit dangerous, but remixing allows you to take a game and basically clone it, and then you can move stuff around and kind of make it your own. And while you can do that for the entire game, the coolest thing, in my humble opinion, is the ability to find a cool effect, whether it's a player moving around or a physics object, the way it looks and feels. You can go in and you can copy that object. So here, what I did was copy this from the first hype I ever made, and yeah, so here we can see that all this is this little package called a reusable. It has two things in it. It's got this cube, which has physics, has an object touch, and currently no grouping. So what the object touch does is it just lets you move it, and when you touch it, you can move it around, and when you end touch it, here we can see the output is off. You can't move it around. So this is a node, and these are all the nodes. Now, not to get too much into it, but in HypeHype you can put nodes in an object or outside an object, and so this is a really good example because we can see that there is a force node outside the object. Now, the reason this force node is outside the object is we can see, hold on, let me move this little thing up. Oh, no, maybe move this down and move this down as well. So take a look at that arrow. Actually, let me just zoom in on it so we can see it. So that arrow is pointed up, and the force node that is outside the object also has an arrow pointed up. Now, if we move this arrow this way or this way, we can see that we have control over which way the object is pointing. This is because the force pushes, here, let's hit this on the top right. We got my chat over it a little bit. Maybe I should move the chat over to the left. I don't know. If, you know what, let me see if I can't. minimize this a little bit, not too much. But like here could be a good, yeah, that's good. So here, we can hit the question mark where you see the fingerprint, hit that question mark, and it will go to the wiki.hypehype.com. The wiki.hypehype.com, lots of great information. My first suggestion is just to play around with HypeHype, literally play the games, other people's games, like the ones that you enjoy, the ones that you think have cool mechanics. But at the end of the day, if you want to get better, you gotta read the documentation. I was in a car ride this weekend. We had to drive like 45 minutes. I was just reading documentation. I was reading things I already knew, but you know, when you're learning something, you want to solidify everything you know. I mean, I just had issues with the view, set camera, and reset view, and I know that. Yo, what's up, David? Thanks for joining. We're just going over HypeHype game app, making a win-lose scenario. And yeah, right now I'm just kind of going over some objects within HypeHype. So hit that question mark whenever you're trying to learn something new. Oh, thank you for playing my games. I hope they're not too tough. And I hope they work most of the time. So this is a huge concept right here, is understanding that these component nodes can either go in an object or outside of an object. And in this scenario, which turns out to be a perfect scenario for teaching, is you want the force to be outside the object. Like, we can go in here and you can hit the object, look at the fingerprint on the object, we can hit that and we can add a force. Okay, now you're like, Hypesy, why don't you just do that? Why do you have to add the component node outside the object? And the reason for that is the way that this is pointing, we don't know. We don't know if it's pointing up. I think it is actually pointing up, but hold on. Let's find out. Let me delete this and select. Okay, so in this example, the force is pointing up, but how do I say this? The force will only point up. If we wanted the object to move in the Z direction, or the X, left, right in the X direction, then it doesn't point up. And it can get complicated. So when using the force, it's good to put that outside the object and then attach the pieces accordingly. Can you stretch out the chat like on the top of the ticker from the news? I don't know about the top of the ticker, Wayward. I can stretch it. Let me see if I can do something like this. But then I don't want it. I want it to be. Maybe let's do it over. Trying to think. Use the. yeah. You're funny. Okay. Let's. How's that? Is that literally the same thing as it was before? I like to think it's a little bit different, but let me know. Yo, David, you got some solid games. Trust. Can you suggest a stretcher? Can you stretch at the chat like at the top of the ticker? So right now, this is, I think, the best I can do. I'll try to take a look to see what more I can do. Would be less intuitive, less intrusive, but still readable. Oh, in the ticker type chat. Yeah. You know, you ask good questions, but I'll have to investigate that. So let's take a look at the object. Now, object touch, we have the type, there's different types. And this one's drag to the ground. And there's a drag dampening, a drag length. And now I'm gonna go ahead and put this, then we got the force, which moves it up. The amount 50, I feel like that might be a little high, but let's check it out. So we're gonna grab, well, we can hide it. So we're gonna grab this package and we're gonna put it into, actually you can do it both ways. I think you can take the package and put it into the object. No, okay, yeah, no. That was a trick. You take the package and put it into the object. Oh, but you know what? I want that. Okay, I'm gonna take this and then I'm gonna duplicate it because I'm gonna want to put this in all these boxes. So we hit play. Okay, so that's cool. So here we can see we can pick up the object, move it left and right. And nothing with the others, with the other colors because those are not set up currently. Yeah, wait, I got you. And I'll have to look into that when I'm not live, but I do think that is a really good idea. Now let's go to reset view. I like to go to reset view and then I grab my two fingers and I pinch out. And then we got the camera and we can take this camera and we can move it up. Actually, let's just move it up. And then we can go to reset view. And again, pinch it out. Here we can see I'm just moving these around a little bit. Okay. So we got this drag and hover, and let's add it to these objects. So all the objects now have a drag and hover. And I'm gonna keep this reusable on the side in case we need it later. Get that, okay. Let's save it. I save it all the time. All right, just touching it, raise it, floating at that level. Touching the chat. So right now the chat size is stuck because that's actually done somewhere else via outporting tools on a website via Restream. So I can't mess, I mean, I can mess with it up to a point, but the way it looks is going to be the way it looks until I mess with it outside of the live stream when, yeah, when that's feasible. Okay, so looks like we got a game end system. I think this got copied previously, but this is a good end system. So wait, first we want to do win or lose. So let's get some other blocks up in here. So first we're gonna, let's see, what do we do? Let's line these up. Okay, and let's do simple visuals. Let's go internet. So HypeHype sometimes has loading issues when it comes to searching for assets when this happens, I'll just go in and I type in something at the search. It's good to have a rough idea of the keywords that you want to look for, so that if that happens, you know what to type in. So, you know, I was going to type in shape or basic. I found if we tap the object set drag ground, if your multiple taps makes them float to camera in a sense float it to me, then dragging it float that level. I mean block with drag ground on it. I so love your repeat the level if your hazard mechanics. Wait, I got like half of that. Just touching it raise float at that level. So I can go over it again. Oops, let's go to logic on. So looking at the drag and hover. So this is what causes the object to go up in the air. The force is how high it goes. I'm pretty sure the force is 50. So when it goes up, it's up 50. And you know, let's test it. Let's go here. Look at hover amount. So it's actually, it looks like it's built into the reusable. So this is 25. This is 50. And I specifically grabbed this drag and hover reusable because it has the ability to go in the X direction up to a point. Here we can see, and the X direction is left and right, and then the Z direction is back and forth. So that's why I grabbed that drag and hover. There are, I think the object touch by itself has 2 out of 3 of those abilities. So now all of these objects, we're going to be adding collision trigger. So this will be collision trigger, and then we'll group it with the green. The red, we're going to be adding a collision trigger. Group it with the red, so on and so forth. Now, we need the collision trigger to set off the broadcast listener in order to have a game win or a game fail. Now, the biggest thing when it comes to the collision trigger is to make sure it matches up with the object. So if you have a collision trigger, over here, you have an object color. The collision trigger and the object color, they have to match. If you have a collision trigger on an object, which is a certain color, and a collision trigger on an object, which is a different color, those do not match. It gets a little tricky, so mess with it a few times. I'll make this hype available so you can see and play with it. But simply put, the collision trigger color group needs to match an object color group. And we can look at that over here. This is an object. This blue object has no collision trigger, but we're gonna give it a blue group trigger. All right, wayward. So especially love that mechanic where you repeat, but the second that you drop the ball in the think you made the goal blue pipe, and it then sends time score to the scoreboard. That keen mechanic. Repeat till you score, then you get that score and lights to say you did it, and you did it faster than all these others, but maybe shows that there are more shorter times you can aspire to score. Try harder next time. I think you're talking, are you talking about the hype that there's multiple ways to do scoring mechanics. You know, I'm still new to HypeHype, so in any of my hypes and in any of my games, usually my goal is to finish it and then try to make it better later. And it's actually really cool and refreshing because this is a different mindset than when you make games or apps for the Play Store or the App Store. Now, I've been making games for the App Store, Play Store for like the last 5 years, and you know, it's weird to say this, but I've been mainly doing it for fun and trying to improve the process of making games and apps. So I did get featured by Apple once, but most of my games, they were very simple. You know, only hundreds of people would download each game, some of them thousands, but it's a process. It's a process because you need to have basically everything start to finish completely done. No big loopholes, no big mistakes, which is fine. But then when you want to go back and re-edit a game, like the work you have to do to upload to the App Store or the Play Store or to update a new version, like it just gets to be a lot of work. So HypeHype is cool because this, I think on the last live stream that I did last week or even this weekend, I can just go into a game that I've been working on and just, you know, make it better. Spend a couple of hours, a couple of minutes, make it better, and then, you know, not look at it again for another month or two. So I'm really enjoying HypeHype, and it's definitely changing the way that I approach making games, at least on an everyday basis, because I tend to do this every day. To be fair, I actually spend a lot of time editing videos, which is really boring, but it gives my brain a break from making games, because making games, it's a lot. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's go ahead and add some of these. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna duplicate it. Make this one purple, duplicate it. Oop, nope, I did delete. Undo, duplicate it. Make it red, duplicate it. Make it green. So let's go in here, advanced object. We're gonna make this one purple. We're gonna make this one red. Now I'm gonna make this more complicated, or at least more interesting, but first we gotta go through the basics. Red, green. Try harder next. I need to use proper punctuation, I believe. Haha. Yeah, I have a big issue with that. I also don't like to make capital I's. I'll do lowercase all the time. I hate when people seems that trying to translate my English. Haha. So many ask, is English not my language? Haha. To strive better attention to punctuation properly. Yeah, I mean, I know it's weird. Maybe it's something that happens the older you get, but I listen to people's English very carefully. And I also think that there's a huge level in terms of, you know, how you say things. I'm fortunate because I grew up in like Asia, Europe, and the United States by the time I was like a kid. So I made a lot of, and know and have friends are from all over the world. And yeah, I can definitely like speak slower English. So you know, I can tell if somebody understands me. But yeah, when it comes to writing, my grammar personally, like I think similar to you, Wayward, like could, you know, it has room for improvement. So For sure. I think I've got the cube gold working, but I've been trying to set up the race gold post or invisible gold to work like my shadow, Law's grip, escape row, and princess level. Yeah, man. Gotta get there little by little, little by little, bit by bit. Bit by bit sounds cooler. Okay, so let's go. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Move that over here. So one, turn snapping off, move it to free movement. Let's check out the camera view, reset view. Yes. I kind of want to move these all back a little bit. Maybe. Let's take this game system. So, game system. We got broadcast listener for game success and broadcast listener for game fail. Those are just the two pieces of winning and losing. And also notice that show end game screen and then restart automatically. I actually like the restart automatically, so I use that one when I remember to do that, because sometimes I totally forget about it, but when I remember, I put it in there. And then there's the wait time. Super important, because I always forget about the wait time, and then I try to create an interval and make it all multiple steps that I don't need to do. Okay. Oh, there's the music. Okay, so let's go back. So I'm just making these bigger and putting them into the ground, like at the example we saw at the very beginning. Okay, so now this is an important piece that I always forget. Hold on. Wait, let's see. It's a quick abbreviation. It's made over years and a quick text to get my thoughts out. I missed. Sorry, I missed that. Sorry. So where was I? This is a really important piece, and I seem to always forget this. So this would be good for anybody to remember. Objects, when they have a collision trigger, all the objects. Hold on, is the volume good? This volume is a little bit loud. Yeah, that's better. I kind of felt like the volume was. Anyways, unmovable object. Let me go. Active sensor. I think that's what we want. Yeah. So that's a good setup, because if you are using collision trigger and you have an object, but it doesn't need to have all the physics, this is what you want to do. You want to set it up as a sensor. And again, I was reading through the wiki HypeHype this weekend, and I even checked out the YouTube videos that they have. I've seen all the YouTube videos, but it's been months, so it was a good refresher for me. Okay. So that's just a good thing to set up right away. Unmovable sensor. I'm not exactly sure what active means, so let's go ahead and select the question mark and see if there is. No, it does not. Allows object to affect the physical world. By default, the object itself will not be affected by physical unless its dynamic is enabled. Physical is required for other components such as collision trigger and force. So that's the biggest takeaway. And my issues with this have always been forgetting about this sensor. Because when you just want it to sense the object and not do anything else, that's what you want. You want it set to sensor. I don't know about active, but yeah, let's check. Then we're gonna want to set something when there's a collision. So I think we should have a, let's take a look. I want to say a compare. Where is the compare? Okay, well, a math operator. Here it is, a compare and a broadcaster. Where's the broadcaster? It should, it's here, there it is. I swear, sometimes I just don't see the things that are straight in front of me. So we're gonna want a broadcaster for game success and a broadcaster for game fail. So first, let me set up this actually, how do I want to do this? Okay, so we got the collision trigger. All right, so I'm gonna I am a fan of Halloween, that's for sure. I think I tried to dress up as a Witcher. I was only missing the yellow contacts. Okay, so I'm gonna set up the collision fail, and the way I'm gonna set the collision fail is if the object touches, if the wrong object touches, or if the wrong colors touch, I want that to send a game over. So a good example is here. So this first one is going to be for collision win. And well, let's set this. Maybe let's set one up at a time. So collision win. So right now I'm trying to think if I want to set up these node components within the object or outside the object. If I set it up outside the object or inside the object. Okay, I'm gonna start with the collision fail. I think that'll be easier. So if the green touches blue, red, or purple, that would be a collision fail. And so what we want to do is set it to add a broadcaster inside the object itself. Now, we could also add a game end and then just have the game end here. So you could do collision trigger if this object collides with any of the other object, go to game end. Now you can do that, but I think using the broadcasters and the broadcast listeners will be more beneficial in the long run, so that if you build out the game more, all these pieces will talk to each other instead of having some of the most valuable information like game win and game lose in individual objects. So, you know, the more you get used to HypeHype, the more you can broaden your scope or design your scope on how it works best for you to make a game. I have been using the broadcasters and broadcast listeners more, and I think it helps my mind think of all the components in a bigger spectrum. All right, so let's see. Yeah, no, wait, that's great to hear that you've been making all these games and have, yeah, been, like you said, spread happiness. People do love games, and it's nice to be able to share the things that you create. So let's go here, do this broadcaster, and then we're going to execute it. Okay, so this broadcaster here, right now it says game success, and what we're going to want is game fail. If we pick this up and we drop it here, I thought that was going to be a game fail. Okay, maybe I'm missing something. Oh. Okay, so I think this is where it's important to have the collision object or the collision trigger set up with the collision trigger and the object set up in the right way. So I might have gotten this mixed up. So this collision trigger is looking for the group blue, red, magenta. And this is magenta, so... Oh, but this object is green. That's what is missing. Wait a minute. Okay, so notice there I was clicking the HypeHype logo and it was giving me those assets, which was a little confusing. It got at least 4 blocks and 4 connection plates. Yep. Do you have 4 blocks that 4 color placements can be placed upon? Yeah, that is what we are working on. And I'm trying to figure out the collision trigger and the object color and making sure that they match up. So I'm missing something. I think I got the color set up backwards. Okay, let's try adding the collision trigger to the platform. And if it's any of the colors other than magenta, then we have the broadcaster. So the cool thing with HypeHype is that there is literally so many different ways you can set things up to do the same thing. It's a little overwhelming, but it's kind of it's nice knowing that if you tried to set something up one way and for whatever reason you don't know why it didn't work because you're new to HypeHype and you make mistakes all the time, you can always do it a different way. That's really cool. So collision trigger. Oh wait, no, so it's not the object here. So this collision trigger, if it collides with any of these different colors other than magenta, you select it, broadcast, execute. Broadcast, and we want game fail. Why is it not game failing? Oh, look at that, it just... So I'm clearly missing something. Let me save it. Maybe only works when exactly on the block. I mean, I'm missing something for sure. So I'm gonna go look at an example that has a lot of similar setup here. Okay, so this one's using a compare node. So this is blue. You know, I thought, like, I don't... So this is using a compare node, but do we need to use a compare node? The collision trigger is set to blue. I mean, that's just looking for a value, which I understand what that's doing. This object is blue. Alright, let's go take a look. Collision trigger green. Object is green. I mean, liberating to be able to work. Yeah, right. I mean, it's nice because if one thing doesn't work, you can try something else. But for some reason, this is not working, and I think maybe go here. Okay, object. Let's get all these objects assigned to their appropriate color. Maybe it needs to be active. That's what it was. It wasn't active. Okay, so that was all a test. I was testing. And so look, let's go to game fail. Move this over here, and we'll set it up to over here, game end, show end screen. Oh, there's a change screen. I need to do that on one of my games. Okay, so, oh, crap. All right, let's restart. Here. So that's a game over. I should add a particle effect as well, and we might as well do that right now. Particle, and I want to say that there's one like called smoke or explosion. So, actually, we need to add the particle effect on the object. So collision trigger, particle effect, execute on. Now when you go to the particle effect, want to have executing off so that it'll turn on when it happens. So now I'm gonna go to this block, and I'm gonna remove the collision trigger. We're gonna re-add the collision trigger, but that is for the winning of the game, and right now we are working on the losing of the game. So if any of these touch, I didn't see, oh, you know what, it was a dust effect. Explosion. So if any of these, well, no, not except for that one, touch, it's a game over. Do you see that explosion? Perfect. Okay, so let's do that for all of the other colors. And the biggest piece that we were getting stuck on, or I was getting stuck on, was I didn't have it set to active. I'm gonna turn sensor off just to see if it still works. It does. It does. And actually I want to go here, go to particle effects. I'm going to offset the Y and add, let's say 2. Yeah, perfect. So basically we're going to do everything we just did to the purple to the other colors. So collision trigger. For the broadcaster. And particle effects. Particle effects. Explosion. Offset plus 2Y. So for green, we want blue, red, magenta, on collision, broadcaster, execute. Now let's go look at the broadcaster, make sure it's on game fail. Okay, and then, okay, and play test. So do we remember to turn it on? Oh wait. So look, this object has no physics, so we never even set this one up. So there it is, physics. Active. I don't know if we need sensors, so let's. Okay. And also, let's go here. We want the particle effect executing. Oh, it doesn't. Collision trigger, on collision, particle effect, execute. So one thing to check out whenever you're using particles is to make sure that the executing is turned off. Otherwise, every time the hype starts, you'll see the particle effect, in this case, the explosion. So we only want that to happen when the collision trigger happens. My voice. Maybe you have to place it in the block like a container. Oh yeah, I did see that earlier, Wayward. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to figure out it was the active. I still get confused between active versus sensor. Oh, sensor, I think means that, you know what? Let me move this up here and see. Pick this up. Okay, so we saw how it landed on the green cube. Now, if I put it on sensor, I think it should fall through the cube. So I'm curious to see. Yeah, yeah. So that's the biggest thing, and I think I do want it set to on sensor. But that's the biggest thing is when using a collision trigger, an object has, and you want it to collide and register with another object, that object must be kinematic or dynamic. But if you don't want that kinematic object to take up space or affect the other objects physically, that's when you use sensor. So good learning for me. So I'm gonna turn these all on sensor. And that's because I don't want the objects to be, how do I say, to be physically collidable. Okay, so we got the collision trigger setup and collision trigger. Now again, we are setting up the win-lose effect. I'm sorry, that sounds confusing. We are setting up the lose effect for this game. Collision trigger, particle effect. Go into particle effect when turn off executing immediately. Offset the Y to +2. Change it to explosion. And let's go ahead and save it. It's been a while. Man, I wish my forehead wasn't cut off, but I don't know what to do with the green. So hopefully you guys are able to stay along. If you have questions, comments, hypes that you would like me to see or even play, I'm gonna start playing hypes on Friday, I think. Leave them in the comments. Let me know. Let's continue adding the collision trigger. So this is red, and we want green, blue, and magenta. Grab the on collision, touch the red cube. We did not have, looks like we forgot to add the broadcaster, but we got the particle effect. So we can execute that instead. Execute on. And let's go ahead down here, hit this object, the plus button, and we want broadcaster. Oh, background music just, where did that go? Game, we want game fail. Collision trigger. Broadcaster, execute. Okay, cool. Looks like we got 0% dropped frame rate. So let's test it. Always important. Come on. Always important to test all the time, like all the time. Because if you get to a place where you forget the test, and then you run the game and you try to get it to do whatever. In this case, we're trying to have the collision fail, show fail. If something is off and you don't remember exactly what you did, it will be difficult to get back there. And you may have to, in some sense, start over, but you'll have to take more steps back. So playtesting along the way, almost in this case, every cube we do, is just a good rule of thumb, especially if you're like me and you're new to HypeHype and you make mistakes all the time. And I guess I just look at mistakes as opportunities to learn something over and over again until you get it down right. So collision trigger. Oops, not the sunlight. Don't even know what that does. Sounds cool. Broadcaster. And this is also nice because I'm doing this over and over and over again. And when you do something over and over again through repetition, your brain, it has no choice but to learn. It may take a while sometimes, you know, definitely for me, but slowly but surely. Okay. Let's go to the particle effect, turn off the execute. We want explosion, offset Y +2. Broadcaster game fail. Green, red, purple, on collision. Particle effect, execute on. Broadcaster, execute on. And let's test it. Oop, we'll get that one later. Nope, I wanted to test, crap. Okay, so next thing to notice is the blue block is actually off the dotted line. So this dotted line is what you'll see in portrait mode. That's when you have your phone like this. Yeah. So you can hit, where does it show? You see pure in game. So this is what you see in the game. I actually don't like the dotted line, or actually this isn't bad either. This isn't, you know, and these all depend, you know, when you're taking like a thumbnail, assisted in game. Okay. So I'm gonna go and move these back and then try to get these. And we can look at the X coordinate of these cubes because remember we have the camera at 0x. So you can always, and that's one of the benefits of having the camera in certain locations. Okay. Now we want for collision to win. That one's got a collision trigger, So let's add collision triggers to all of these. And I think we need so we have the compare node and a math operator. And then these go into here. So collision trigger, if this green touches with this object with green, then on collision, math operator value A set to 1, and we want to add one. Yes, add 1. Actually, I think we can do this inside the object, which I think will be better. So let's do that. Go to the object, add object, look at the compare. So let's take a look at the compare node, read the final points of it, because we'll be using compare nodes all the time. Compare nodes are really good along with the math operator. So executes a comparison operation between two values, which triggers either the true output or false output based in the result. So what we're going to want here is that if green matches with green, then the value is true. And we're going to make, yeah, that's basically, and then if it doesn't match, well, then the value is nothing. It's not true. So let's see if we can do that all within here. So we want equal, and then so collision trigger, if this is true, if green touches with green, we want to compare. So this is where we gotta make sure we do it right. Value set to 1. Okay. So sometimes you want to add, sometimes you want to subtract, sometimes you want to less or equal or greater than equal. This time we just want them to equal. So we're going to have the value be 1. If we go back here, you can hit the little magnifying glass. We can see that this is set to 1. So when these two add up, it'll give a value of 1, then that'll be true. And then if output equals true, then we go to this math operator and we do value of 1 or add 1. Okay, and then here we can see that this value is 0, but if the green touches, then it will be 1. And total, we're going to have a value of 4. So this will be 4. And then if this equals true, then we'll have a broadcaster game success. So if that was a lot, no worries, because we're going to do it 3 more times, but let's test it to make sure everything is set up. So we're going to select the math operator so that we can check it out while we debug. Hit the play. See it over here. So we select the green and we can see the value is 1. Now, we should not have had a game success, so that's not what we want. So let's take a look. Okay, so I think I figured it out here. Delete operator equals. So when they equal, then we have a value output. So let's test it again. That's not right. All right, so I'm gonna save it and I'm gonna take a look at some other hypes to compare. Actually, let me go back and I'm gonna now took a screenshot, save it. So I'm missing something with the compare and adding and then sending out to the broadcaster. So let's take a look, a closer look to see what that missing element could be. So here's a compare. Okay, so I think I need to have the compare node outside of the object, and then I'm going to want that to be set up to 4. And it looks like I actually don't need a math operator. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, we're going to test it and try it here. So I find a lot of times in HypeHype when I'm trying something new, it's just basically just play testing over and over until it works. And then when it works, I now have that little component, and whenever I need it, I'll go and grab that component and use it in my other games. And you know, hopefully I will remember how everything was done. So let's delete this. Let's delete this. Let's add a compare node. We're going to want B to be a value of 4. Value add 1. If output is true, execute. Now we want greater, or we want equal. So there we got the compare node. Okay. So let's do that for all of these. Wait, what is it? Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so on collision trigger. So when this red touches that red, we compare value, set operation to add 1. Collision trigger. Value, set operation, add. So it is a little bit tricky because you kind of do need to know that you need to select that button that says set and replace it with add. But now that you've seen this video, hopefully you will remember. Okay, so here we're missing the blue. So on collision trigger, value, +1, add. Then, well, let's just test it. Ooh, that was close. Remember, if these cubes touch anything other than the designated color, it's game over. Oh, that was... Sweet, that's awesome. Okay, so that mechanic works. If you're playing this game and you're just going super fast and you're like, oh, well then you're gonna lose. So you gotta take your time in this game. Next, we wanna set up a timer. Because this is gonna be a speed game. Games that have leaderboards, kind of like a competitive how do I say, competitive element to the game. Players like that. Players, especially me, I like to get the high score. I like to. Oops, no, not that. Oh, crap. Yeah, so it's good to add some kind of leaderboard element. So right now I'm just going to move these objects accordingly so that they can kind of be lined up. You can see I like to be super specific with these numbers. I just think it's helpful in the long run. Okay, so let's save it. So we said we're gonna set up a timer. I like to use the example in Frosty's soccer practice. I have a whole video going through that game. I think it's a great example, hype, because it's all well done. It's simple and straightforward. So when learning how to use HypeHype, it's nice to have examples to go to, because you know it's going to take time for one to just remember how everything is done. And I am not one of those people, so for me it takes time to figure things out. So we saved it. See if we can't find it. Hit the remix button, go in here, let's take a look. So it's all the way up here. So we got the scoreboard. Let's hit show. So we got game success, start timer, time, got text. Okay, so I'm gonna try to make this from scratch. We need game success, leaderboard, timer, and text. And let me just take a picture. Oh. And we're back. All right, actually, I'm just gonna copy this, and then I'm gonna try to recreate it on my own, but have the original copy. So it's like I'm making it from my own fresh, but technically it's a copy. Move this all the way up here. Okay, so with the timer, and the timer is also gonna, we want text, because this text is gonna be time, and this is gonna be, I want to say output time. And then let's get a broadcaster, a broadcast listener. Oh, got a phone call to call her back. Okay. All right, game success. Oh, and leaderboard. Okay, so here we got the timer going into the text. And I think we want value. See what's done up here. Yep, so value, and then the timer has an output to the leaderboard, but it's not activated. Something like this. It's interesting because this timer has an end time, and this one doesn't. Oh, stop at end time. That's a button here. Perfect. Leaderboard entry score. I'm trying to make them match up. If I wanted to do it the quick way, I would just use what I copied and pasted, but I'm trying to learn step by step of exactly what's going on here. But I know we want to have the gray output symbol because that means it's not active, and it only becomes active when the timer tells it to become active, which is what this is going to do. On game success, signal receive and execute off. So right now the timer should just start automatically, and the timer will be going. You'll play the game, you try to match everything up, and when everything matches, you'll get a game success, and that game success will come into the broadcast listener, which is why we use the broadcast listener and the broadcast receiver, because there's multiple things you're going to be wanting to do in your game, and setting these pieces outside of the specific objects helps make that more easy. I gotta text my friend, tell her what's up. I'll call her back. What? And tell her I'm on a call. This is like a work meeting, right? Kind of. Okay, where were we? Yeah, I think we're good. So I'm just go ahead, select all this, hit delete, and let's see if there's a timer. Okay, so that's not the timer we want. So let's go back. I mean, it's close, but we want here, nope. The format, there we want, that's what we want. We select this. No, it's not supposed to be completed on 2. What are you talking about? Okay, so the value is already 1, which is not correct. All right. Why is the value set to? So value should be 0. You know, maybe it's because these guys are touching each other and I got a bunch of weird object. Nope. Looking through it, that doesn't look to be it. Maybe these. Why is the value already 1? It should be 0. Let's test it again. All right, hold on. I saw an issue with the purple. Yeah, look at that. The purple is not working properly. So let's take a look. And this is, again, why it's really important to playtest all along the way. And the more you do this, the better you get at it. So it's definitely like a work in progress type of deal. So collision, compare A, add 1. Oh, there we go. The color was set up. And I think that was affecting. Here we go. So now we can see the value is 0. Value A is 0. And before it was 1 because the purple collision group was not set up properly. Oh, you know what? Let's see how fast we can do this. So you go too fast, you lose. Okay, so now, oh, I think we're good. Well, let's do it again just to. Yeah, that's. Like, I want to set up the objects so that they're close so that. You know, if you're playing this game and you're just not paying attention. Oh, what am I missing? The red, maybe? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it was the green. Cool. So the great thing about this is now that we have this set up, this game is a very simple game. It's not too difficult. That being said, we can add some instructions to the game And I want to try to think of something fun that we can do to make this game a little bit more, how do you say, more challenging, or basically the same stuff, but you know, more of a game. I want to say more with more stuff going on. We can do that. Add text, so we want new text. Match colors. To win. Cool. And let's have that be some 3D text. And then we're gonna say mismatch colors and lose. Oh wait, no, we want to add. I want to add one. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I think this is good. Oh, actually, I just noticed we got the text going outside, so we should maybe make this small. But if we make that one small, we should make this one small. Okay, I'm gonna hit play, take a thumbnail screenshot. So now that we have the core mechanics of the simple game with the win feature, with the lose feature, with the timer, let's try to do a little bit more to add to this game using basically the same stuff we have now. So that could be as simple as adding more of these cubes, adding more of these cubes, and then changing the compare node to a higher number. So like duplicate this. We can set this up, and then we can just maybe just grab this. Move these around like this. It's not that big of a deal. Go here, change this value to 8. And now we got the same game. But it's basically, I want to say 100 times more difficult. Oh, no. As you said that. So the back objects are not moving, and that's because they don't have the container that we made in the very beginning. And that's okay because we have it over here. We didn't delete it. And all we need to do is drag this component into those other cubes. And now they can be picked up and moved. Now the game is a little bit more difficult because oops. We want, yeah, so it's gotta not bounce around. I'm trying to think of what we can do to help with this game. We can add pipes. Pipes are cool. Let's take a look. add some tune pipe, change the color of these, and make it so you gotta put it, you know, oh, that view is off. Okay, so with a shadow, something like that. Oh, I guess the pipe has no physics. What else could we do? Let's take a look. Add some shapes, maybe. I want to say platform. Ooh, I like this one. This one's kind of cool. And then maybe we can move. Yeah, I like this concept. Okay, let's make this an unmovable object. And this object is pretty high up. Make it a little bit skinnier. And I'm gonna get these objects to be, this is a y of negative 3.8, and this is a y of negative 3.9. What does 4 do? Okay, so 4 is too much. So right now I'm thinking, instead of just having you being able to drop the cube on top of the same color, we could have this object spinning on top or moving left and right or up and down, back and forth, so that you have to drop the cube at the right time or the cube flies somewhere else. And there's a couple things we can do. Rotate around the X. Something like that. I actually think works really well. Try Y of 0. Okay. Not gonna lie, it's not, concept's not that great. Let's select these, delete, make this a 4 again. So this does have physics kinematic properties to it. Oh, probably take these and move them over here. Those are from the cubes that we just deleted. Now I'm just testing around, seeing some of these other ones. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Okay, so if we were to set this here, yeah, not really a dynamic gameplay. Let's see what else we got in terms of platform objects. I'm just trying to think of, oh, maybe we could add like tubes or let's see what we got. So the main thing we need to know is we got the core game set up, and now we're just trying to add a little oomph to it to make it more than just a match same color to the same color. And there's lots of cool objects in HypeHype. I really do like the pipe. Let me see if I can add a cylinder. Maybe a cone? I thought there were more. I'm gonna go with this one. Let's rotate it. This is gonna be 0 or 6.5. So we'll put this at 5. And let's give it unmovable. Simple animation. I'm gonna look at it down here. See what rotate X does. No, we want rotate Z. Okay. I think this can go down a little bit more. I want it to have physical properties. So, oh, you know what? The physics needs to be set to kinematic. There we go. So if you try to drop it and you just, no, that didn't. So I just want to say that when you drop the object, you have to keep in mind the yellow spinny tube so that you don't drop it on top. But it looks like it's falling straight through, which I think is an issue that is specific to the simple animation. The simple animation might just be a simple look. Like it just looks like it's animating, but it doesn't have all the properties that you would think it does. So we're going to add a wave and a transform, and we're going to try to mess with this. I always have a lot of issues when I use wave and transform, and I think my biggest issue is that my value output for transform, I always hit execute when in fact I should be doing a mount. So let's see if this has an effect, and we're going to do rotate. That looks kind of cool. It's not rotating. Oh, maybe, do I need an amount? We want loop, executing. Geez. Okay, it's kind of moving. It's trying to move. I'll take that. That means I'm getting close. Maybe change this. That. Okay, so I mean, I'm happy that we got it to move. So let's try 25. And maybe the duration, I think we need to add more time to it. So maybe 5 seconds. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. Alright, what if we get rid of local transform? No. All right, well, I think I want it to do more. And I suspect maybe it's because, let's try the simple animation again. Oh, that's just. Or maybe even swing. See, I'm just trying all of these. Oh, that one is not. Nope, we just tried that one. Yeah, it might have something to do with the oh, and that was because the blue touched 3 times or 4 times, sending multiple signals. So though I guess there's a loophole you can do to cause the game to win. Let me. Let's grab a wave generator. I'm pretty sure we still want a transform. Okay, so we want this to loop. Duration in 5 seconds, duration out 5 seconds. Value output amount. I think it's amount. Now, how do we connect it to here? Yeah, I am not sure on this. Yeah, looks like I still need to practice when it comes to the wave generator and transform. I can do it when I'm following simple steps, but other times I get it mixed up. So let's do something like this. Oops, see if I can change these to, I wonder if I search donut. Okay, a rounded torus. Oh, but we want this to be green. And this one is to be red. This is just an idea I had on the back of my mind of what I would do while I was trying to get that spinning mechanism to work, but I couldn't get it to work. So I'm hoping this would be a cool alternative. Oh crap, what was that last color? Well, the color was blue. So, okay, and next, we just want like a pole. So I think you can get an idea of what I'm trying to accomplish here, and I'll do more in a little bit, but first I want to see if this works. Okay, so that didn't work. We need this to hover higher. Go to basic, hover, try 50. So that, why is the green one not hovering as much as it should? That is the question. Okay. Purple hovers a little bit. Can we change the hover amount to 100? Is that more or less? Do this, duplicate. And I kind of want to, there we go. Like that. And so here we got these 3 icons. The middle one is rotate. You press down on it and move. It's a little wobbly at first, but you kind of get better at it the more you mess around. Yeah. I'm gonna go here. Yeah, we need these to hover more. So the purple has now got 200. Okay, there we go. $200 looks to be a good amount. And remember, if they touch the other... Okay, so the game is now a little bit tricky. And if you watch this video, you know that if they're just touching, like here, that's almost like a way to, I don't want to say cheat, but... Oh, well... So here it looks like got the score to the right so we can test what's going on. So the value happens multiple times. So I wonder if there's a way to add an interval to make the timer like wait 10 seconds before checking, or at least 3 seconds, because here we can see what's happening is the donut is moving around and it's tapping, it's tapping the collision trigger, giving it multiple, making it trigger multiple times. So watch this. The trigger didn't even, it's not, that's strange. It's not working there. And there it did it 6 times. Okay, so there's, the purple didn't work. Value A. Take a look, compare value A. So there the blue touched once. And then it touched multiple times. Okay. I think we just need to move these around so that they're not so close to each other. As you can see, we now have an issue with the counter, the compare counter being signaled multiple times. And it even looks like the purple one, it doesn't work. So here, let's pick up the purple. Yeah, there it's not even registering. Oh, I must have object purple. Okay, so we figured out this fix. Now it should register. Yeah, it does. Okay, so biggest issue is that it registers multiple times instead of one time. How to remedy that? Got it. We can add an interval. So let's do this. We'll go to interval. And we'll do duration 5 seconds. So collision trigger, instead of instantly going to compare value A, let's delete that. On collision trigger, interval, execute on. I think that Actually, I think that'll just make it wait 5 seconds before activating. I think we need like maybe even a switch. Toggle. That's what we need. We need a toggle. So when on, value add 1. When off, value subtract 1. There's on collision start, on collision end, first collision start, all collisions. Let's see what these say. So I think we want to try all collisions end. Oop. Execute toggle. Okay, let's see what's going on here. So it's a great way to select the debug. We can see it on the right what's going on. Okay. So I think output value set 0 when off. When on, 0. What is that one? Okay, well, I think we're getting close. And yeah, let me go ahead and switch all these back. Relax. Oh, we can only do so much. Purple. Red. It's good to experiment. And if I had more time, I would definitely mess around with other ways, making this more challenging. I'm missing a color, green. This one is supposed to be green. Let's double check that. Yep. I wonder if we can still have these out. They're not causing any too much trouble. Whoop. Oh, and now we got to change these hover back to, I believe it was 50. So that has to do with the objects having different density. And just different physical properties. Always good to keep track of the changes you make so that if something does not work out, you can change it back. Cool, let's hit that compare node. And let's get rid of these. Hold and tap. Tap and hold to select multiple items. What's up, not Miles? I apologize if you've been, oh, you just showed up. Well, we're about to finish. Got a simple game. If these tap the wrong colors, then you get a game over. And I'm gonna change, it didn't work. Let me change this green to the HypeHype green. Let's look at the compare and let's see what we're missing. Purple to purple. Nope. Okay, so it might just be the purple that is off. Let's take a look at purple. Collision trigger, add 1. Oh, there we go. select. So I'm doing a lot of selecting and moving around. So I think the issue was that the purple did not have the correct object color. Now I've set the correct object color, and this should make that value 1. Perfect. And we can see that it dropped, so it makes the value 2. And I'm going to go ahead and make these physical objects heavy so that they don't bounce. And maybe I should have done this. Well, I did it for the green. Yeah. Heavy. Physical material is cool, and there's lots you can do here. And this is great when you want different objects to have different weight, bounciness, whatever. Sweet. So we're gonna go ahead and save it. Leaderboard, set the time, lowest number, and I'm gonna go ahead and post this. So if you want to check it out, there's a lot of mechanics I went through this live stream when it came to winning, losing, collisions, why it's good to use broadcast listeners and broadcasters, setting up the timer, and the leaderboard. Yeah, that's a lot. So if you like this kind of video, be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know your comments and thoughts, things that you would like to see. Again, I am new to HypeHype. I just think it's a great app that makes it very easy to make games, for anybody to make games. And if you don't know how to make games, or if you're new to making games, you can come in, play a bunch of games, see what other people have done, take their games and try to remix it and make it in your own way. Even if it's just by starting out by changing the objects and colors. I mean, everyone who started making games started somewhere, and HypeHype makes it fun to start here on your phone. So until next time, stay safe out there, and peace.